Show starts in 1 minute.
Visit us often and enjoy our screen attractions in the comfort of your own car.
You're listening to the Trailer Drive-In. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yes, sir, the hot dogs at our concession stand do rate an appreciative whistle.
Get more out of life. Come often and bring your family to our drive-in theater. Please remember to replace the speaker on the post when you leave the theater.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome to the Trailer Drive-In. I am Nathan.
And I'm Corey, and this is episode 4 of our podcast where we'll be discussing the best in trailers for both film and television.
Each week we will choose a single trailer that has been setting the film and TV world alight and have an in-depth discussion about it.
And this week in June of 2016, we have chosen the trailer for the somewhat anticipated television series, Lethal Weapon.
I did put the word highly in there, but I wasn't too sure how anticipated it is. If you are a new listener, please note that you can catch all of our episodes at the trailerdriveinpodcast.podomatic.com. And if you want to get involved with the show, you can write us an email at thetrailerdriveinpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
We do. So as we discussed before, we are talking about Lethal Weapon. The reimagining, is that a fair comment?
I think so. I'm hoping that, well, we'll get into it.
We will get into it. Now, as we start off with every week, we do actor golf, don't we? So last week, we talked about Independence Day Resurgence with the amazing Jeff Goldblum. And this week, we're talking about Lethal Weapon TV series on Fox with Damon Wayans. So we need to get from Jeff Goldblum to Damon Wayans in the least moves possible. I'm going to go first this week, Corey. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Go on.
All right. Took me a while to work this out, truthfully. But I've come to it. You ready? Jeff Goldblum to Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park. Samuel L. Jackson to Damon Wayans in The Great White Hype, which was released in 96, which was a bit of a little-known boxing movie. It came to me in a moment of clarity, Corey, because it wasn't that easy, this one.
Well, believe it or not, I've got you beat, man.
Oh, man, really?
I've got this in a hole-in-one.
Wow.
This came to me like 3 days ago.
Was it like a eureka moment?
It was. These two have actually been in a movie together called Earth Girls Are Easy, where they played aliens along with Jim Carrey, who played a third alien, and they tried to seduce Gina Davis and stuff and turned out to be like hot dudes. It's a piece of shit.
That's kind of one of those films that I don't recall ever seeing.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies you look at and you're just like, seriously? Ugh. But hey, it got me a hole-in-one.
Wow,
so.
man. I don't think we've had a hole-in-one, so I can't remember what the tally is. I'll have to kind of go back through the episodes and find out who's winning everything. Anyway, well done, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sure you can kind of gloat about that all week.
For sure.
We need to get our old friends Dave and Maz involved with
for sure.
with actor golf, because they'd be all over it.
They would.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So as we discussed before, we're here to talk about the Lethal Weapon reimagining, which is just been released. A trailer got released in May of this year, a couple of months ago. Oh, actually last month, I should say. And, is it anticipated? I'm not too sure. But before we get into our discussion, how about we have a listen to the trailer?
Let's do it. Roll the projector.
Let's do it.
Sure. Then do me a favor. Don't miss. Because I'm not spending the rest of my life with some tube coming out of my mouth because Because you morons can't shoot. So let's do this together. 1, 2.
What the hell are you doing?
Martin Riggs, we're gonna make a great team. We got a DOA in Griffith Park.
Is the DOA dead?
Dead on arrival. Does it mean something different here?
No.
I just want to make sure there's no one else left for you to kill.
Just you and me.
I've seen a lot of crazy people before, but this dude is in a class by himself.
Who is it?
Nobody. It's,
Hi, Martin Riggs. I'm sure you've heard a lot about me.
Not a word. We're about to have dinner. Would you like to come in?
No, he can't. He can't. He got stuff he got to do.
Come on.
No.
I mean, it does smell good.
Oh, it tastes even better.
So, do you have any kids, Martin?
I do not.
But you're married.
If you ask me to change,
Not anymore. She passed away.
I'm sorry, Martin.
I don't know if I can.
She was a good one. Gave me something to live for.
I need you to be honest with me. Do you think Riggs is dangerous?
Very. LAPD, put your hands in the air! Don't make...
What? I didn't kill him.
This man is out of his mind. Be safe out there.
Always.
What the hell did this guy do?
We questioned him. The guy fled, so we followed him at
And
a
then
safe
he pulled a
distance.
gun on us.
Yes, and he
Right.
pulled a gun.
Tried
what
to
we
shoot
were gonna
us.
do? We
What am I
pulled.
gonna do?
Stop!
You are 50 years old, Murtaugh, and still only a detective.
I like solving cases, not kissing ass.
All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. So, Lethal Weapon, Corey. It is clearly based on the very famous Richard Donner directed, Joel Silver produced, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, part of our kind of, pop culture. And certainly part of my childhood. I mean, there was 4 films made, 1987, Lethal Weapon 2 in 89, number 3 came out in 92, and then the 4th film came out, which was a 6-year gap, it came out in 98. And probably apart from the 4th film, which I think is fair to say, like the first 3 are, I don't know if the 3rd one's a classic, but the first 2 are definitely considered classics. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is just, action movie zeitgeist.
Yeah.
It's, you think action movies, you think of 2 things, Die Hard or Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're taking this idea and retooling it is an interesting idea, to say the least.
And let's not forget, like, Lethal Weapon 1 in particular, and it came out in 1987, and, I mean, it essentially established Mel Gibson as a bona fide Hollywood megastar. I mean, he came off the searing success of Mad Max 1 and 2, and obviously being a very well-known actor in Australia through the 70s and 80s. And, like, whatever controversy he's kind of been involved with in recent history, like, these films really did launch him to megastardom. So, the fact that they're remaking them into a TV show with Damon Wayans is a bold statement, to say the least.
Yeah, but, at the same time, like, truthfully, would you want a Lethal Weapon 5? I mean, number 4 was okay. So, would you really want to pull Mel Gibson and Danny Glover really too old for this shit out of retirement
Isn't it?
to make it number 5.
It's the kind of thing that they would kind of like make fun of on Family Guy, like
Yeah.
endlessly. I'm too old for this shit. And I mean, he was saying that line in like Lethal Weapon 1.
It was. So, well, I don't know. I think that they need to take this and make it their own. Okay, they don't. If you notice, the trailer does not feature "I'm getting too old for this shit." I mean, the show needs to kind of earn that kind of thing. That's like 3 seasons in. Murtaugh has been putting up with Riggs, and the show is like really, really good and solid. That Murtaugh gets to come out with "I'm getting too old for this shit," and you're just like, hell yeah. Lethal Weapon TV series is awesome, Let's hope that they push it and they just do something new and earn the respect of the people who love the movies.
The thing that I'm worried about, though, is that the trailer doesn't necessarily give me the distinct impression that they are trying anything new. There's a lot of what felt like a bit of deja vu for me as a fan, especially with that early scene where Riggs is kind of it looks like his introduction to the series, where he's kind of in the bank vault of some description, and he puts the gun to his head and he basically tells him, I don't want to kind of live the rest of my life with a tube coming out of my mouth because somebody doesn't know how to shoot. Like, this guy's got a death wish. I mean, it's almost like a reimagining of that scene in the first Lethal Weapon when they're on top of the roof, remember? And Riggs goes up to try and talk the guy down, and rather than kind of talk him physically down, he handcuffs himself to the guy on top of the roof, and they jump off the roof together. Do you remember that?
I do. And it's another point that I wanted to bring up was that the first one especially was just like an amazing character development for Riggs. I mean, Mel Gibson nails the performance in that. And there's a scene too where he puts a gun in his mouth, ready to kill himself over the death of his wife, and it's just so full on that, I'm just hoping that the TV series isn't going to skimp on that kind of drama. We want the passion and everything that comes with a performance like this. A man who has lost everything in his life and is just a cop who just does not care anymore.
I don't quite know how they're going to do the action as well. Like, I think they're trying possibly, and again, I haven't seen the show. All I've seen is the trailer is maybe a little too hard on the action front. I mean, action on TV can be a difficult thing to kind of pull off, simply because let's face it, man, like, they don't have the money that the big budget Hollywood productions kind of do, and for them to try and do it on TV can sometimes look a little cheap. And there was a moment in the trailer too where there looked like there was like Indy cars or Formula One cars showed up for some reason, and I'm just like, it just didn't really look all that exciting. I don't know, man. I like, as much as I didn't mind the trailer, I do have question marks.
Hey, man, I still like a lot of TV shows that have been coming out, especially, in this first part of the 21st century. Television has gotten so good.
Lord,
shows like Lost and Fringe and stuff that's on now, like 12 Monkeys or Orphan Black and stuff like that. Like, you can really make a good show on a TV budget these days.
Right, you can.
Because effects have come so far. So there is no reason why they cannot make an excellent looking show and not skimp on the action, get by with the budget that they're presented with. So if it is a little less than what you expect, people aren't going to watch because they're just going to go, it looks like crap. Let's just not bother.
And I think things have kind of proven time and time again that just because you have more money doesn't necessarily mean you're making a better product, does it? Like I saw a film the other day that had all the money in the world. I'm not going to name what it is because I don't really want to diss it, but it had all the money in the world, and all the action just kind of felt a bit meaningless. It just didn't really kind of work for me because the story kind of didn't add up. So I'm hoping maybe with the platform of television, I mean, as you say, we do live in the golden age of television. Like, there's so much good TV, Corey. Like, I actually can't keep up. Like, there's so much good television. If you're watching something bad, then you should kind of turn it off, man, because there's enough good stuff out there to kind of keep you occupied.
Exactly. I could keep naming things, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Arrow, Flash, all this stuff. TV budgets, great looking shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is no reason to skimp on any good looking effects.
And as you say, man, it's not necessarily like right now. I mean, we're going back to shows like 24 as well. Like, I mean, those seasons were, I mean, that TV show was very important for doing high octane, big budget kind of action, kind of tense adventure, like Bond style, and except with Jack Bauer being a total kind of badass for 24 hours. I can't believe they're still making that. Actually, I think it's coming back. Actually,
it is. Yeah. It was actually a toss up this week, wasn't it? It was either Lethal Weapon or it was Kiefer Sutherland's new TV show, Designated Survivor.
I couldn't believe when you told me the premise for Designated Survivor. It just made me laugh. For people out there that don't know, you should tell them. Like
Kiefer Sutherland is like, he gets fired from being a politician or something, but not really. And then he's the designated survivor while there's like a big cabinet meeting, and then everybody dies. So Kiefer Sutherland is now the president.
Is that like a thing? Is that like?
I think so.
Is that like a so they physically choose someone and isolate them? Do they?
Yeah, call them the designated survivor. If anything happens. But anyway, that's off topic.
Yeah. What did you think of the cast, like the new casting of Damon Wayans and what's his name, the guy that plays Martin Riggs? Is a guy named Clayne Crawford. Have you ever heard of this guy?
Never heard of this guy before. I could look him up on Wikipedia, I guess. And he seems to have been around for a while.
Yeah, he does look like he's been around for quite a while. Speaking of 24, he was in 24 Day 8. He played a character in that, and he played
Swim Fan. Hey, that's a good movie.
Yeah, Justified. He was in. That's a good TV show. He's done quite a bit of else. So I mean, it's kind of interesting casting. I think he looked okay, but it's kind of, I mean, I don't know, man. Like we talked last week about Independence Day and who the target audience they're kind of aiming this at. I mean, I'm assuming the people that are going to be watching this show, I mean, a lot of them would never have seen the original movies before, would they?
Yeah, it's funny actually, because we were just talking about Independence Day last week. I mean, who are they targeting with this? I guess, the people in their late 30s, 40s, they're not going for the teen audience with this one for sure. And we have no idea who Clayne Crawford is, but Damon Wayans even, he came up throughout the 90s and stuff. So, yeah, they've got to be targeting older than the teen market for sure.
But Damon Wayans was he's a star, but is he a megastar? Not really. I wouldn't call him a megastar anyway. Not here anyway. Maybe in America he is. I mean, he does have a pretty good pedigree. I mean, he did start in Living Colour back in 1990 and 91, and had a couple of kind of hits here and there. And he obviously landed on a show called My Wife and Kids, which ran for 123 episodes in 2001, I believe it was, and that was a pretty big hit. But since then, I haven't really seen him pop up in many movies or anything. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how he kind of performs as in the role that was made so famous by Danny Glover as Roger Murtaugh. Like, in some ways, man, I kind of wish I don't really mind them calling this Lethal Weapon, but they could have had some new characters. I think that would have kind of landed a little bit better with me. Like, I don't mind them using the brand and the idea of the slightly off-hinged cop and the slightly cranky kind of older detective that just kind of wants to retire. But I don't quite understand why they felt the need to use the same characters and almost like the same premise in many ways. I mean, is there going to be a bomb underneath the toilet in this series at some point? Is that going to happen, do you reckon, dude?
I hope not. Even though it is, the same characters of Riggs and Murtaugh, I really just hope that they don't do a straight up remake of the original movies. Like that would be pointless. Do something new. Take the characters and just do something new with them. And I think just going by the trailer, I mean this guy Clayne Crawford, he seems to affect the voice pretty well. I think he seems to do a pretty good facsimile of Riggs. Damon Wayans, I guess that makes sense. He's an African American actor who is around that 50s age now. He's somewhat recognizable, and people go, oh, okay, yeah, Damon Wayans, yeah, I get it. It kind of makes sense to me, and. Going through the rest of the characters, I mean, they're bringing back Murtaugh's wife, Trish, and the family dynamic's going to play an important part. The fact that they bring Riggs into their home and sort of help him get through his problems. I can see that. Jordana Brewster, who actually I do recognize, she was in the Fast and Furious movies. She's playing Maureen, who, if you watch the movie, she actually becomes I think a love interest of Riggs, or is that the right character? I can't remember.
I think so. She was actually also in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning from 2006, and I bet you've seen that.
I have.
You suffer through all those bad horror films.
You know me all too well.
I know.
So yeah, we got a few things. The big one I didn't see on the list of people they're not characters that they haven't brought in, but they probably will if they get enough episodes or enough seasons. Leo Getz, the Joe Pesci character. I wonder if he would ever show up.
Yeah, I never kind of forget. I always kind of forget about Joe Pesci in the Lethal Weapon films simply because like Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are so recognizable as Riggs and Murtaugh that Leo Getz's character sometimes kind of gets left in the background a little bit, but when you actually rewatch those movies, he's very memorable, and Joe Pesci plays him really well. So you're right, man. It'll be interesting to see if they kind of use some of those kind of characters and in this. Hey, I wonder if Jet Li's character is going to come back.
But yeah, I think you and I are kind of on the same page here. So we don't want it to be a carbon copy of the movies. They need to just kind of do their own thing, establish, and earn the right to sort of make the references to the movies. You can't just throw them out willy-nilly and think, this is great. People who love the movies will love this. No, sort of establish your own characters and your own, world of the TV show, and let us get invested in it.
Speaking of reimaginings, I know that they recently just did a relaunch of the Rush Hour film franchise on TV, and I know for a fact that it got cancelled the other day. It didn't last too long. So if that is any indication as the kind of audience they're kind of going towards, and let's face it, man, Rush Hour came out 15 years after Lethal Weapon, or however long, maybe not that long, but 10 years or whatever. I think it was early 2000s, wasn't it? I think.
I think so. Maybe late 90s.
And that film has had pretty much an identical kind of brand as the Lethal Weapon series. So if that TV show is anything to go off, then I am kind of reasonably unsure on how far this show will progress. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a big hit and it lasts for 8 seasons and 300,000 episodes or whatever it is.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
All right. Well, I guess that takes us into thumbs up, thumbs down, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of I didn't mind the trailer. I just hope it kind of goes in a new direction. I'm not convinced it's going to get picked up for series. I think it might. I was trying to find out how many episodes there are going to be in the first season, and I couldn't find the information. So I'm assuming it'll be 15 or something like that. So maybe with a wider palette. And a longer kind of time frame to establish characters, it might be successful, but I am a bit concerned about them just trying to recreate what the film series kind of did, which is so iconic, with such memorable characters, and I'm not entirely convinced just yet, but the jury's out for me a little bit, so we'll see. What do you think?
So was that like a thumb sideways?
I'm like a thumb hovering sideways. Just truthfully, it's kind of more towards the down position, only because I love the original series so much. But we'll see.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna give this a thumbs up, but like only like one thumb up that says, "All right, go ahead. I'll probably give it a watch." But if that first episode doesn't grab me, yeah, that's gonna tilt and go thumbs down.
Yes. Cool. All right, so that's the Lethal Weapon TV series trailer review that we just got through. So yeah, so what are we going to be talking about next week?
Next week, I have been waiting to see a trailer for this one. Seriously.
I think the trailer launched last week sometime or whatever it was, and I think I sent the link to you like within like 5 minutes and just said, "We're doing this the following week."
Yeah. I listened to the podcast. I have been waiting to see this movie. It is Kevin Smith's Yoga Hosers.
Yeah.
And man, this sounds crazy. I mean, Tusk sounded crazy, the movie he did before this.
Yeah.
This movie sounds bug nuts, and I want to see it. So, we're going to be talking about the trailer next week.
We will, so stay tuned for that. But on to important business, who's the actor golfer next week?
So the actor golf will pick up with Damon Wayans and try to get to Mr. Kevin Smith.
That's exactly right. So Kevin Smith, who says, I mean, you actually explained it to me before. Who does Kevin Smith play in Yoga Hosers again?
He plays a bratwurst Nazi called Bratzis, and there's like hundreds of them or something.
Okay, all right. I think I saw something in the trailer when I watched it last week. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that next week. So that's it for this episode of the Trailer Drive-In. Keep up with listener interaction by joining our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Trailer Drive-In Podcasts. Follow the show on Twitter @Trailer Drive-In and visit our webpage, trailerdriveinpodcast.podomatic.com.
Very easy.
I know.
And you can always write us an email and send it over to the Trailer Drive-In Podcast @gmail.com. And also, if you've enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing over at our YouTube page. And if you could please give us a rate and review on iTunes, that's always very helpful. Give us 3 stars, 4, even 5 if you love us that much. We'll take it.
It takes 30 seconds.
It really does.
So please, it helps us a lot. So that's thank you so much for finding time in your very busy schedule, Corey, to talk about the Lethal Weapon trailer. It's a pleasure. It's been a blast as always.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this line before, but I'm going to say it again because I thought it was pretty good. And I'm not spending the rest of my life with a tube coming out of my mouth because you can't shoot, Corey.
And I just want to make sure there's nobody left for you to kill.
See you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to The Trailer Drive-In.
I eat popcorn. Everybody eats popcorn. She tastes real nice.
Ice cream bars. It's the handy way to enjoy smooth, rich, creamy ice cream. Get some.
See y'all next time.